Welcome Trinidad and Tobago to our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communications. I'm Nicola Barito. Let's take a look at the headlines. Trade and Industry Minister and the Tourism Minister gives the assurance that government is committed to exploring all options in order to boost tourism in this country. Government has signed a US $45 million contract with one of the world's leading dry bulk carriers. And the Ministry of Local Government unveils an exhibit which highlights the history of local government in Trinidad and Tobago. Thank you for joining us. Trinidad and Tobago now stands at a better position for tourism opportunities. This as the first aircraft for the route to London has been launched, with the second aircraft on the way. Speaking with members of the media at the Caribbean Airlines Boeing 767 were Trade and Industry Minister, Senator the Honourable Vasant Bharath, and Tourism Minister the Honourable Stephen Cadiz, who both assured that government is committed to exploring all options in order to boost tourism in this country.
Speaking with the media at the launch of the Boeing 767 Caribbean Airlines aircraft, Tourism Minister Stephen Cadiz announced that government is exploring all avenues to get flights into this country. He says very soon Trinidad and Tobago will be going to the World Trade Show, where this country will be announcing its arrangement to have airlift coming from London.
We are looking at all angles, every different way that we can get additional airlift into Trinidad and Tobago. And of course, when Cal announced their flights to London, I mean, it was a great relief that we had our national airline returning to the London route. Because Europe, as you know, for Tobago, Europe is the market for Tobago. The Trinidad and Tobago have very different markets. Trinidad has more of a US-based market, whereas, as I said, Tobago has a European-based market and more so a UK-based market. So, of course, the traveler now has an alternative. They have options to go with, BA, Virgin, and of course we have Cal coming out of that.
Meanwhile, also speaking with members of the media was Trade and Industry Minister Senator Vasant Bharath, who says government is looking at new and innovative ways to attract foreign investment and tourism to this country. This, he says, will assist in boosting our economy in light of the current global economic situation.
It's very difficult economic times right now, and the prediction based on the fact that tourism generally is on the decline because of what's happened with the financial crisis across the world means that we now have to look at new ways to, in terms of the offer that we make to tourists to come to Trinidad and Tobago. Now, Trinidad and Tobago has a tremendous amount to offer. We've been talking about that for many, many years. The fact is, we need to go out there and market Trinidad and Tobago, which is what Minister Cadiz has been doing for the last 2 or 3 weeks and will continue to do. Our job now is to go out and sell Trinidad and Tobago as a destination and to be able to fill these planes. So I don't foresee there being any issues. The question is determining what we have to offer in Trinidad and Tobago and which markets we look at.
Minister Bharath says Caribbean Airlines aircraft should be a true replica of the warmth of the islands.
I can't say there's going to be cheaper pricing. There is a cost involved in running an aircraft of this size, but we will be competitive with any other international airline into any destination in which we fly. That much I can tell you. What we want to really do, to be honest, is, and I've been looking at that since I've come in and gotten involved with the aircraft, is to try to reestablish that feeling that you get when you board a Caribbean Airlines flight wherever in the world. That immediately as you board, whether you board in New York or you board in London or anywhere else, you feel you're already back home. And I remember that feeling from many years ago when I was a student studying abroad. From the time I set foot on a BW airline in those days, a BW aircraft, and I met the people and I saw the stewardesses and I ate the food and I listened to the music, I felt I was back home. And that's what we need to recreate with Caribbean Airlines.
He says other brilliant ideas are being considered in order to make flying from Europe to Trinidad even more convenient.
We're looking to connect other routes out of Europe into Gatwick at a time that will allow people to catch a connection on the Caribbean Airlines flight into Trinidad and Tobago. So that's something new that we're looking at as well. Whereas previously people would have had to come in from other parts of Europe and overnighted in London and then caught the next morning's flight. We're now looking at the possibility of this flight leaving slightly later out of Gatwick so that we have a morning traffic coming in from other parts of Europe to be able to connect directly on the Caribbean Airlines flight to Trinidad and Tobago.
Vuna Bharath, News 4.
Government, through the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Investment, has signed a U.S. $45 million contract with one of the world's leading dry bulk carriers, Oldendorff. The signing is expected to open new doors for transshipment in Trinidad and Tobago. Trade and Investment Minister Vasant Bharat says the Oldendorff Free Zone investment was the second major foreign direct investment signed by Trinidad and Tobago Free Zones Company Limited for this year.
A U.S. $45 million contract has been signed with one of the world's leading dry bulk carriers, Oldendorff Carriers Trinidad and Tobago Limited and Trinidad and Tobago Free Zones Company. The signing is said to have the potential to open numerous doors to international agreements with Trinidad and Tobago. Welcoming the move, Minister of Trade and Industry Vasant Bharat says the agreement is capable of giving the sector a major boost.
Come to the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Investments. The very fact that investments now form a central part of our mandate indicates the focus of this ministry. There is no doubt in anybody's mind that the investments into Trinidad and Tobago over the last 4 or 5 years have dried up somewhat, and therefore it's very important, it's actually critical that we kickstart the economy through investments into the sector.
Oldendorff Carriers Trinidad and Tobago Limited's Chief Executive Officer, Scott Jones, says his company was pleased to be operating in this country and he hopes to increase the number of locals employed with his company in the coming months.
Labor is the big resource that we're using here because we're providing a service, a transshipment service. To date, Oldendorff has hired 85 Trinidadians. We have about 100 employees altogether. The 15 expats we will be reducing and replacing with Trinidadians over the next few months. I mean, I think by the end of the year we'll probably be down to, instead of 15 expats, something in the region of 7 or 8, and we expect to continue to increase our Trinidadian workforce.
Minister Bharat says establishing this link will provide an opportunity for Trinidad and Tobago to be placed at the top of transshipment points based in the Caribbean and Latin America.
There has been, over the years, and there continues to be, a proliferation of trade agreements that we continue to sign with our CARICOM partners, with Central and South American countries, and it means, therefore, that the shipping industry becomes more and more important as we develop more and more trade links. Their investment initially is around about $45 million US, I'm told, in the initial stage, with startup employment of around about 50 or 60 people. But that, obviously, with their intentions to grow significantly, we're hopeful that based on some of the conservative targets they've given us, that will multiply several-fold to maybe $200 or $300 million US, and several times more employees for Trinidad and Tobago.
The minister notes that government has focused its direction towards improving the entire investment process by fixing bureaucratic problems that have hindered investors. Kimberly Ramkalawan, News 4.
News 4 continues after the break.
Never leave items like MP3 players, portable DVD players, laptops and briefcases on view inside your vehicle. It is an open invitation for a thief. Don't leave them on show. If you cannot take them with you, place them in the trunk of your car. Remember, crime prevention is everyone's business. A message from the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service.
Welcome back. The Ministry of Local Government has unveiled an exhibit which highlights the history of local government in Trinidad and Tobago. The exhibit is in celebration of this country's 50th independence anniversary and includes a display of information on local government ranging from present day to as far back as the 1700s, when the first form of local government was introduced under Spanish rule.
According to ministry officials, the exhibit, entitled A Walk Through Time, a celebration of local government, attempts to tell the story of the development of local government and its evolving contribution to and impact on national development. It includes a display of information on local government ranging from present day to as far back as the 1700s, when the first form of local government was introduced under Spanish rule. Minister of Local Government, Dr. the Honorable Suraj Ratan Rambachan, says the exhibit is just one part of the ministry's plan to honor this country. He reveals that the lives of persons who contributed to local government and the history and achievements of local government will be profiled and celebrated in books written by the respective regional corporations.
Each corporation should seek over the next 6 to 8 months to produce in each corporation a book that profiles the history of local government in each area, the history and development of local government, and also celebrates the major achievements of local government and celebrates the lives of people who have contributed to local government. It will be a fantastic addition to our libraries and to recording history from the point of view of the local community, something that is so much lacking in Trinidad and Tobago.
Minister Rambachan also announced his plans to turn the exhibit into a roaming exhibition, which he believes should be set up in schools and various regional corporations. He also intends to use the media as an exhibition platform, with plans to use newspaper clippings and cuttings and to show how the local government has evolved and developed through the eyes of the media. The exhibit, which took more than a month to put together, is available to the public for viewing during the independence period. Meanwhile, Minister Rambachan is vowing his commitment to ensuring that his ministry does positively affect the lives of citizens and plans to lead by example.
I'll be meeting members of the public who have problems that they have not been able to resolve, and seeking to meet with them so that resolution can be brought to people's problems. If in fact local government is to fulfill its true role in this country, then local government must be more responsive, it must be flexible, it must have a greater degree of speed in terms of delivery, and it must really reduce the frustrations of people and give them the hope that they need, that someone cares, that there is someone compassionate, that there is someone listening to their problems. And I intend to do that on a very personal basis by going to the different corporations and spending 1 day per week from now in each one of the corporations, which will take me about 7 to maybe 10 weeks. But it's something that I have to do, because if local government touches the lives of people, then the leadership of local government must set the example by going out there and touching the lives of people.
Gregory McBurney, News 4.
In other news, Public Utilities Minister the Honorable Nizam Baxsh is urging citizens to embrace the various cultures which contribute to the uniqueness and variety which is synonymous with the Twin Island Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. Minister Baxsh was speaking at the TNTEX Islamic Committee's event Embracing Community, Culture and Cuisine.
The Public Utilities Minister says public holidays such as Eid should not just be viewed as an opportunity for persons to stay home from work or school, but it should be more meaningful. He says persons should use the time to reflect on creating a better society.
Let us do our best to rise above the commonplace in our lifestyles to a community of excellence in all our achievements. Let us move from holidays being just a convenient form of not working. Let us rather dignify our national pride with inculcating greatness and distinction in adopting the values and behaviors inherent in Eid. Finally, let us partake of not only the physical delicacies associated with this event, but feed our minds with a mental, social, and spiritual repast that will distinguish us as a nation. That is an exemplar among our Caribbean brothers.
Minister Baxsh says the Muslim faith identifies the great role that culture plays in creating the uniqueness of Trinidad and Tobago. He says the Muslim customs boost the rich culture and cuisine quite tremendously.
Without community, there can be no culture. And without culture, the cuisine of which we will partake shortly would be absent from the Trinbagonian melting pot. It is an undeniable fact that in Trinidad and Tobago, food, especially those associated with ethnic or religious festivals, is often the first way that many are introduced to unfamiliar aspects of our culture. The sight, the aroma and taste of sawai, kibi, baklava, and mamul are all unpretentious cultural ambassadors who slip past even the most jaded defense and make the transmission of our culture easier.
A varied culture, he says, helps to widen the mind and spirit while also joining groups of various backgrounds together.
What this transmission of gastronomic culture, bellies are filled, relationships are fostered, communities grow, and ideas are exchanged. And the end result is a nation that is racially, religiously, and culturally diverse, yet joined in brotherhood.
Veena Bharath, News 4.
News 4 continues after the break. Stay with us.
Dads aren't the only ones who beat up on kids. Sometimes kids beat up on kids.
Every child has the right to be protected from violence, abuse, and neglect.
Because I shouldn't be afraid to go to school or play with my friends.
Because no child should be hurt by adults or by other children.
Because safety is my right. Stop the bullying.
Unite for children.
Welcome back. A team of CPAP workers from Five Rivers, Arouca displayed their creativity with an exhibit of our nation's human resources on the heels of our 50th independence celebrations. The exhibit highlighted some of our past and present and even gave a look into our future. News 4 visited the crew.
On the lush green hill is a little shack house adorned with decorations and the colors of our national flag. Inside is a wide range of material that is deemed valuable to our past, present, and future. The exhibit produced by this CPEP team instills a sense of remembrance of our communities, our people, our music, our literature, and our folk traditions.
For the past couple of years, it was a bit dismal. At this point in time, for the job that I've done in the area, it brings everybody, it gives us a sense of love, to come out in the community and, and do things again with each other. Right now, the kids are very happy, the elderlies are very happy, young people are very happy in this area at this point in time.
Mr. Philip Short says their work and culture display provide not only access to the general public, but also intangible memories of our heritage.
I want to encourage them to keep doing the good works that they are doing, and hope and wish them the best in the future.
The team has also created artifacts dating back far as 300 years ago that was used by our forefathers, like the canal cutlass, which was used to trim cocoa in the cocoa estate.
This cutlass is from the 4th generation, far as I know, from my great-grandfather.
They also have on display a coal pot.
This is the coal pot, where you put your coals. Live here in ancient days time, and then you put your heater here. And when your heater hot, that you iron your clothes.
And just like the olden days, this oil drum was transformed into an oven, of which bread and sometimes meat were baked. And after the dough goes in, this is the final product. Mouth-watering, isn't it?
Yes, like Mommy used to make it.
Where we forefathers used to walk the road, had no electricity in them days. So there's a light, this is a kerosene light. You hold it here and you raise it up there, light it there, and you pull back down the switch, and you get your light with this.
They have also produced a garden where a number of fruits and vegetables grow. The team also took time to express their joy over this country's 50th year anniversary.
I feel so great that we get independence in Trinidad and Tobago. We get freedom. It's like you're always in prison for so many years and they let you loose, so you get freedom. That's just what independence means to me up to this age. I am 5 years of age, and there's nothing like happy independence of Trinidad and Tobago.
Next year I'll be 50, and it's nice to see we have our 50 years independence, so which means I was there from the start, right? And I proud Trinidad and Tobago. I proud because if we didn't come independence, I don't know where we'd be.
Apart from the fact that this is a 50th independence competition between CPEP teams across the country, this initiative is geared at instilling national pride, patriotism, and appreciation for our culture. Joseph Lopez, News 4.
More news after the break. As we take a journey through 50 years of independence, we take time to observe and reflect the works of others in various communities throughout the country. News 4 took a plunge into one community to get some views on how persons feel about our country's 50th year of independence. One such community is Arouca.
This is Arouca. This, and this.
Happy 50th anniversary!
They are just some of the few out of hundreds of people excited and thrilled to be a part of this country's 50th anniversary. We journey through the Arouca community. News 4 visits Mr. Raul Raphael, former parliamentarian and MP in 1986 to 1991. Mr. Raphael remembers it vividly, that fateful day on 1962 when Trinidad and Tobago was granted independence. Mr. Raphael is also promoting the government's project, the promotion of the flag in every home.
I felt great then, and remembering that, I felt it was a great joy to see that we move into independence under Dr. Eric Williams. I think it was a great occasion, and I think that as we're going to celebrate it on Friday, I feel the people of Trinidad and Tobago should come out in their glory, and they should be very proud to wave the national flags. As you may see, I have two on my car, and I will encourage all Trinidadians in particular to try to get these national flags and be proud of their community and country and show that they are true Trini.
Mr. Raphael says, this independence, we must use the occasion to recommit to Trinidad and Tobago, while recognizing that perhaps all of us have not done enough and we can do better in the development of the people and the country.
As a true Aroucan, a Trinbagonian, I look forward. As a matter of fact, there's a committee now, I'm not a member of it, but they are promoting a township, a Piarco Arouca township, and I appreciate that very much.
National patriotism and solidarity for our 50th anniversary is also being displayed highly along the nation roadways.
There is a feeling of pride and appreciation here as we stumble upon some creative artwork utilizing the colors of our national flag, red, white and black. The artwork is produced by a team of CPEP gang here in Arouca and utilizing simple materials such as wood, bamboo and fabric to symbolize and signify what 50 years of independence means to them.
Decorations have always been part of the independence celebrations, and to commemorate this year's milestone, the CPEP team at Lopino Main Road in Arouca told News 4 their creations are representations of our nation's development and diversification.
The workers on Zion Construction decided to do something for the 50th anniversary of independence, and we put our heads together and we did this. right? And we decided, as the emancipation just went, we decided to put something here with the African, the Indian, and the Spanish people. You'll see everything in place.
They also expressed jubilation of being able to share their work with the public.
Everybody in this company, we just love to do things that will look good, and at the anniversary, we decided to do it.
I see you'll have a lot of creativity happening and a lot of artistry.
Well, that was
responsible for that.
Well, everybody had an input in it.
So you'll have artists,
everything,
painters,
everything.
Celebrating 50 years of independence also entails highlighting the work and resilience of our people. Meet Mr. Henlin Ash, who lives in Aruka. For years, he has been laboring in the community. He is responsible for the beautification of the Midget area. Not only that, but he does it for free.
The children motivate me because I always see the future in the children. And I feel like being around, I could help secure them, like cross them over the streets and see that nobody abuse them. So, you know, I always at their disposal. I always try to make myself available to see them get over the streets because they didn't have no street light in them days when they started. So they look forward for me being there to get them across the street so that they could reach in school safely and things.
Mr. Ash tells News 4 he remembers the breaking of the new flag of the independent Trinidad and Tobago in 1962. He says, even though he was just a child at the time, it has remained indelible in his mind.
I feel proud to be alive to witness the 50th anniversary of independence because I was in Port of Spain in 1962 because my old man took us down to see the lowering of the Union Jack and the raising of our national flag, which was historic. And to be around 50 years after and being alive, I feel it's more historic because I realized I saw the raising up of the flag, which as a proud citizen, I stand here very patriotic.
And as the country draws near to the much-anticipated Day of Jubilee, News 4 remains committed to highlighting the richness and diversity coming out of various communities across the country. Joseph Lopez, News 4.
Well, that's how we wrap up this edition of our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communications. I'm Nicola Barreto. Thank you so much for joining us.